Hey, everybody. Over there is Michael Langston. You know what that means. Time to talk recruiting, everybody. Hit the thumbs up. We thank you for being here. It is Warchant.com's continuing coverage of the transfer portal, even though it's closed. This happened before it closed. Michael, first off, how you doing, man? I just want to check in real quick, man. It's been a minute. You all right?
I'm good, man. It's been pretty hectic, but even though it's closed, it's still open, for visits. No, I'm good, man. I'm good. Just trying to finish this up, and then in May I'll take some trips, road trips, and see what I can come up with there. So
Yeah, maybe you and I will be taking a road trip somewhere together.
yeah, we haven't done that in a while.
Yeah.
How about those days at Charlotte, going to Charlotte and seeing Sam Howell? That's always fun.
Yeah. Sam Howell, our guy Corvarius Crouch. I remember him too. I looked him up the other day. Didn't
Yeah.
work out for him. But hey, we usually go on these spring tours and we visit all these great campuses across this great country of ours, namely this state of ours.
Yeah.
And Jeremiah Wilson's a guy that I don't remember us visiting. We could have visited him because he was right there in Central Florida. He ends up going to Syracuse, then Houston, and now he's at Florida State. This obviously happened a few days ago, Michael, but I don't know if defensive back was something that Florida State fans necessarily were clamoring for, but the fact that they got a guy, what does that mean? And they got a guy of his caliber. What is it?
Yeah, I mean, they obviously the number one portal need is safety. That's the guy. That's the position they want. Obviously, if they saw one that was corner slash safety, which I think this is what he is, and it was
Mm-hmm.
interesting when I interviewed him when he committed. He said field corner. He didn't say boundary deep corner. So it kind of leads you to believe that he's going to be mixed in a lot of different different places. But I think this kid was so good. He was the number one portal prospect at the time when he visited FSU. Very productive guy, 4 interceptions, I think 4 pass breakups, 24 tackles and stuff. I mean, but I think he was so good as far as how FSU felt he fit into what they're doing, that it's just one of those positions where, yeah, do you need another corner? Probably not, but when this you got a guy this good, you got to jump at it, and certainly the connections were there. With him being from the state of Florida, I think Ocala is where he's from. But just a really good talent, and one I think they felt like they couldn't live without, and it just bolsters that DB room again with Coach Surtain and certainly Coach White running his new defense.
Interesting at all the fact that the portal has closed. I know Marqueson entered late, but he's a grad transfer. But
Right.
like nobody left. Like Edwin didn't leave, Kai
Yeah.
Bates didn't leave, Charles Lester didn't leave, obviously Jabril Rawls didn't leave. Um, I mean, the fact that they went and got another cornerback, I guess you're saying maybe safety could be in the books for him too. Was it just too good of a kind of piece to pass up, or do you think this meets a specific need?
I think it meets a need as far as a depth, but I think he's so good too, to your other point, that you just can't pass on him. Immediately when he went in the portal, he told me 2 minutes he was on the phone with FSU's whole staff, talking to him. So they targeted him from the start. And when you get a extremely productive guy like a Jeremiah Wilson, who grew up wanting to be at FSU in the first place, but uh, I just don't think they could pass on a talent like that. And like I said, he can play both corner and safety, likely more corner, but I think he's a guy that they're going to add in, and I think they want to add another pure safety in this class. So that's a place they really want to hit hard, and I think it also says, Aslan, that the guys you listed, not Edwin, and certainly not Jabril, but Charles Lester, the Kai Bates. They don't. I just don't feel like they feel like those guys are ready yet. That
Quindarius
just
Jones, another guy that I should have probably mentioned too there. So
Yeah. So those are some guys that are very talented, but maybe they feel like they need a proven DB for in their depth, because he's probably going to take somebody's job. I mean, let's just keep it real.
yeah.
I mean, there's likely he's probably going to take somebody's job as far as a starter. I'm not going to guarantee that, but with his production, you would think that there's a high chance for that. But I think it also tells you that there's other guys they're not ready to just push them forward as far as, hey, these guys can come in there and you make an impact at least right now. So that's the way I took it.
I mean, with him being, I guess, the best available player in the portal at that point, I mean, there's 16 guys ranked ahead of him, but I assume these guys were all had already gone ahead and committed. This is obviously going to have to be a financial commitment as well, too. So
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
people might be like, well, don't we still need pieces elsewhere? It sounds like we know the offensive line is going to be a point of focus. They've got the kid from
Hmm.
Grand Valley State that Matt and I spoke about earlier coming to visit on Saturday. It sounds like Florida State also has something in the works from a group, not a group of five, a Power Five program.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say group. I'm sorry, a Power Two program. There's only two of them these days. An SEC player.
yeah, yeah. From Vanderbilt, Joshua Raymond. He's a guy they've been talking to. He told me earlier this week he's going to visit this week coming up to FSU. So I expect that visit to happen. I think even though it's not a position of need, I think running back. Don't be shocked if they hosted a guy or two there just to solidify that group. You do have Usman coming in, but he's still a true freshman, so you want to have somebody that you do want to have finish off that depth in that room. And then you also have the wide receiver position. I think they hosted Tony Johnson over the weekend. So you certainly have that, and then I think they're probably going to host more this week. Aslan, I think those are the position. Then defensive line is another one that I feel like we're going to see some visits this week coming up from FSU. So I think those are the main positions that we covered. Defensive line, safety, wide receiver in that offensive tackle position. I think that's certainly, or offensive line. I think that those are places that I think there's going to be visits, and the visits will tell you pretty much how serious they are about it.
That's it, huh? That's all they need after doing all the shopping they did in December.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Matt and I spoke about it. I think they were clearly not whole at offensive line this spring. I don't know if that means they don't think some of these guys will be ready once the season starts, or just the people that they saw that were going to be backups weren't going to be ready to back these guys up once they do get healthy. It makes it feel like is the reason why they're going after offensive line, because it felt like they obviously prioritized that by bringing in Micah Pettis, by bringing in Adrian Medley, by bringing in Luke Pettibone. That you felt like that was pretty much covered. But I guess that's one of those spots that you just can't have enough help there.
Well, yeah, I think too, with those guys you listed, three of those guys I think have a good chance to be the starter. Obviously, Luke, certainly Pettis, and Gunner as well. I think those three. So you do still need depth, and I agree with you, Aslan. Like I think it speaks to kind of, hey, maybe these guys that we have on team we can rotate them in, but as of going into the summer, not sure if these guys are ready, that we can depend on, if a guy gives down or a guy gets hurt or you want to rotate in that too deep, maybe they want a few more.
What do we think about the whole Tony Johnson thing? It's so much different when these kids are in the portal. It feels like, once you get them on campus, like the Jeremiah Wilson thing happened really
Hmm.
bang, bang, right? They brought him on campus,
Yeah,
got the
yeah,
commitment soon thereafter. Same thing with the quarterback from East Tennessee State.
right.
But, Tony Johnson comes on campus on Saturdays. We sit here and record here on Sunday afternoon. We don't have any kind of definitive information. Is he going to be making any more visits? Does that mean that it's over if he is making more visits, or does this sound like a guy that's probably going to take multiple to figure out what he wants to do?
I think he might visit Kentucky, and that will be the only visit left. I think that will be it if he does take another visit. I don't think it's going to be more than that. Yeah, he's taken a very business approach, to it. I think FSU makes a lot of sense when you think about it and you break it down. If you lost three receivers, you need one that's productive that can, it doesn't have to be highly productive. It could be, I think he's in the 300, 400 yard range and six touchdowns and stuff like that. I think that fits exactly. I think the both sides it fits really well, and really it's just about what impression that FSU made of their dedication to the passing game did Tony feel. Now, we didn't get a chance to talk to Tony, I think on Saturday. Supposedly he's supposed to leave Sunday morning, but we'll attempt to try to get up with him. That's our plan, and then I'll probably share some recruiting news about him and just other portal things, later tonight. But that's one we're waiting to get up with. But yeah, that one felt a lot different than the Jeremiah one. It was like when Jeremiah got there, all smiles, hugging Norvell. You kind of felt like, even though Jeremiah said it was mainly the visit, I felt like the intentions going into that visit were that he was going to commit. So the vibe out of this one's more business. Like, I think he's very high on FSU and Tony Johnson, but really, we're gonna check and we'll see. I'll check with different sources and contacts to see kind of the impact of that visit, and certainly the upcoming visits I think we'll have this week. I think there's going to be several more visits coming this week. I think this is probably the meatiest. Is that a word? I don't know if that's a
The
word.
most
Media.
meaty, sure. Medius.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think medius.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah.
Okay. Week of if you have visits, because I think they want to really iron it out and finish it out if they could. This upcoming week.
It just feels like you can't let these guys leave campus if you really want them without a
Yeah.
commitment. But we'll see how it goes. Listen, there's incentive to make as many visits as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Some guys like doing that as well. Just real quick housekeeping over here. Jeremiah Wilson, he's from Kissimmee. Our guy Tony, he's from Ocala. Just some people.
Hey, no,
back checking.
I'm 53. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I messed that up. But
don't get day over 30, my friend.
But yeah. But both of them are in-state kids. Thanks for correcting that, Aslan. And both of them, I think, like there was a strong chance for. I mean, going into the visit with Tony Johnson. By the way, he played college at Cincinnati. He was also a walk-on, I think, at FAU for a few years. So that's a guy that they felt like this is one that they can pull. So I'm very intrigued to. We find more about how this visit went of just their impact. I think Miami just got a commitment from the BYU wide receiver, so you wonder how hard the push, even though he did visit Miami, how hard the push is there. But it's interesting. But we'll find out more, and we'll have it more tonight.
Check out the PRB, everybody, the premium recruiting board over on warchant.com for the latest on all things recruiting. Michael Langston, Matt Lasser got you covered. If you don't want to go over there and sign up and get all the information as it's happening and you feel like waiting, okay. But don't make us wait for a thumbs up.
There you go.
Everybody. We'd appreciate it. Thanks for doing this, Michael.
You got it, man.